Hello, welcome to Beach View, our podcast about all sorts of things and or stuff.
Yes, and today we are watching the 1996 film Romeo plus Juliet, which is an adaptation of William Shakespeare's play Romeo and Juliet.
Obviously, yes. Okay, so I remember when this came out in 1996 because I'm that old. And I really like it. It's kind of like a nostalgic thing for me, so I was very excited to rewatch this.
Yeah.
Was this your first time seeing it?
No, I've also seen this before. I first saw this in high school.
Oh.
Shown this movie because, Romeo and Juliet is a Shakespeare you are likely to read in high school.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and this is an adaptation of it, so...
Yeah, I don't remember if I watched this in school as well. But at the time, Leonardo DiCaprio, who plays the lead, Romeo, he was, super popular during that time as a young, up-and-coming kind of star. Well, I guess, he'd done some stuff when he was younger, but, during this time was when he was, getting super popular.
Yeah, and this is just before Titanic as well, so...
Yes, yeah. I think, a year before, right? I don't know.
Yep.
It was right around the time of Titanic, yeah. Which, that totally catapulted him. So, anyway, it was, a big deal when it came out, especially as a young person at the time when we were just, obsessed with, a young Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes.
Which actually, I remembered I watched this in middle school, because that's when I read Romeo and Juliet.
I was going to say, I feel like in 8th grade we did Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, that's when we did as well. Mixing up my Shakespeare's there.
Yeah, exactly. I just cannot remember if we watched this or not, but it seems like something that we would have watched in school. But I think we just saw it in theaters and stuff at the time.
Yeah. But yeah, the thing with this adaptation is that it's set in the modern day, but they keep the language the same. So it uses all of the, quotes from the original Shakespeare.
Yeah, so it was only, from what I've read, only slightly, some lines were different, because there were a couple things in the movie that didn't, or I guess there were a couple things in the original that didn't happen in the movie, and so they, switched up a couple of things, but for the most part, it was pretty true to its roots, and it was a super interesting, I think, adaptation, one that hadn't been done before. And so Baz Luhrmann, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, but Baz Luhrmann was the person who adapted it. And I remember reading, he said he wanted to do a film where he's what would William Shakespeare, how would he do a film right now? What would it be like? And he said, we don't know a lot about Shakespeare, but we do know his theatrics, he was very, over the top and the, just kind of stuff like that. So he really went into this thinking, what would William Shakespeare do right now? So I thought that was interesting because I was that's a very interesting interpretation of what William Shakespeare would do.
I mean, I'm not, a Shakespearean scholar, but from what I understand, that's, this isn't far off from that.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I loved the... where it was set as well. So that was a little bit different than, it's set in Verona, Italy, the original. And this was supposed to be set on Verona Beach, Florida. But it was filmed in Mexico City, and Boca del Rio was the beach that they used. And anyway, so it just, to me, it seemed like it was more kind of like a Miami-esque setting, but almost dystopian too. Did you get that kind of everything's kind of in ruins type of thing,
No, I felt pretty modern day to me. It was...
I felt the beach scenes, with the it seemed like it was an old merry-go-round and the old looking rides.
That sort of stuff exists in real life. You can just go to abandoned stuff, that just sticks around, I guess, and teens hang out at because it's cool.
I guess you're right. It felt a little dystopian to me, just a little bit.
Yeah, I did not get that at all.
Oh, I got that. But anyway, it just seemed like things were kind of like, and that's why I guess I got the like Miami vibe, because like things were like very dated looking. And so, but not in the way that like Verona, Italy is dated. You know what I mean? Like just kind of, modern dated, I guess. Yeah. But anyway, thought that was super interesting.
I don't know. When I saw Verona Beach, I was thinking like maybe like, Venice Beach.
Yeah.
Because that's also named after an Italian city.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's true.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe that's like what they were doing with it. But, yeah, it's not really like a California type deal.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, it's super interesting. The setting to me was like, I thought was really cool. And then, I mean, right off the bat, like they're showing like, the people with like dyed like pink hair and stuff, and like the guys are wearing like Hawaiian shirts, and
yeah, the costuming is a lot.
Yeah, the costuming is very interesting, but it's such an interesting adaptation to me. Like it's not any other Romeo and Juliet that you've seen.
No.
In my opinion, yeah.
Yeah, it's very dramatic, very over the top. Just like from everything, like cameras, like shot choice, the costuming, the like physical acting they're doing.
Yes. Right off the bat, it's like very chaotic, you know? Which I mean, I guess it is in the original as well, but
a lot of yelled lines.
Yelled lines. Yes, a lot of violence. Like it's but I'm not over the top violence, but I mean, I guess not gory, but like yes, violence. But I
mean, there's violence in the original play, so
yeah, exactly, yeah. But it's just instead of swords, they're using guns. Like
the guns say sword or like rapier or
dagger.
Longsword on them. Like that's the brand.
Yes, I thought that was really funny. Really interesting to me, but This is like a very divisive adaptation, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen some of that. I mean, most of what I've seen these days are people online who really like it.
Yeah. I think so. I think like when it came out, it was probably more divisive in that, you have your like purists who are like, oh, I thought this was going to be like a more of a traditional Romeo and Juliet adaptation. That it is not. It is just totally over the top. And I actually love it. I normally feel like I wouldn't like this type of thing, but I love this movie. And I think a lot of it is like nostalgic. A lot of it for me is like the Leo DiCaprio and Claire Danes like love story is just, I don't know. It was so iconic at the time. Like I love it. I don't know. How did you feel about it?
Yeah, so I really like this movie. I've always really liked this movie. I like how over the top it is. It is just ridiculous sometimes.
It's ridiculous. Yes.
Also, the choice to keep the original like language.
Yeah.
And like the iambic pentameter in the archaic form of English, I feel like really contributes to that feeling of it being like dramatic and over the top. Which is a strange choice to do a modern day interpretation, but keep the language. But I think it really works.
Yes. So I read that that although like the original was all in iambic pentameter, the only person who actually speaks it that way is Captain Prince.
Oh, okay. See, I can't tell stress. So
I didn't notice. Yeah, I didn't notice that. And I'm curious to like. I guess I wish I would have read that before I rewatched it so I could pay attention to it, but I think they're right. But anyway, I thought that was also interesting. It's still written, like they're still saying it, but maybe not in that, like you're saying, the stressed syllables of iambic pentameter. Just something I read, which I don't know. Yeah, anyway, it's super cool. What I also thought was interesting that when Baz Luhrmann was like pitching this, that he didn't get like an automatic like yes from I want to say it was Fox that was doing it, 20th Century Fox.
Yes, I remember seeing their little intro logo when I watched it.
Yeah, and they exactly, and they had to film some like do a little bit of filming first, and so. In Australia, which is where I think Sydney, where Baz Luhrmann is that's like his home base, I guess, or that they had to like, fly Leonardo DiCaprio there and do some footage first before they would like sign off on it, because they weren't like getting his concept. Which I don't know, I kind of love that they were like, I'm not really buying what you're selling right now. But once he like showed them, they're like, okay, let's do it, So I thought that was also like an interesting part of this, that it wasn't like an automatic like green light. It was like, we don't understand what you're trying to say,
Yeah. But yeah, I guess I'll get into a plot synopsis.
Yeah.
Which, I'm not sure I need to do a plot synopsis necessarily, because this is a very famous story, and it's a fairly straight adaptation, but...
Yeah.
So, two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene. Verona Beach, rather. From ancient grudge, break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loans of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life. Which is what is read at the beginning from a newscaster.
Yes. Which I also like that part.
And that establishes our setting. We open at a gas station where the Montagues boys are pulling up, and they run into some Capulet boys. Those are the two rival houses.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up fighting. Do you bite your thumb at me?
That's like my favorite part.
No, sir, but I bite my thumb. And they have this like whole big gunfight because, of course, modern day adaptation. They're using guns called swords.
Mm-hmm.
And the prince, who is a police chief in this one, who's just named Prince.
Yeah.
Which is funny, I think, but ends up coming and breaking it up. And this is apparently the third scuffle of theirs in a short amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these two houses hate each other. Well, they're like figured as kind of like companies in this one.
Yeah,
like you see the like skyline with their two logos on top of the like high rises across the street from each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then we move to one of the Montagues, I don't remember his name, talking to the Montague parents about how, like, Romeo's all sad because his girlfriend broke up with him, and he's been, like, hanging out being sad. He creates an artificial night for himself, or whatever the line is. So he goes and talks to Romeo, and then Mercutio shows up, and they're like, Romeo, you gotta get out the house, and
yeah, Mercutio's Romeo's friend.
Yes, who's not a part of the family, crucially. But, yeah, they're all like, Romeo, you gotta get out of the house, and, I'll show you other girls that'll make you forget about your lost love. Meanwhile, the Capulets are getting ready for a big party they're throwing, so they're gonna, like, go to that party.
And Mercutio had an invitation,
yes,
so
that's
they're
how
like,
they
we can get in. Yeah.
Yeah, but, Juliet, who's the Capulet's daughter, the main Capulets, has a suitor named Paris who wants a marriage proposal. And, yeah, they have the party. And beforehand, Romeo takes ecstasy.
Yeah. I did not remember this, like,
I
initially.
didn't either.
And I've seen this movie a few times, like, over the years,
yeah.
and, like, just did not remember this at all.
Yeah, totally forgot he was doing like he's like kind of going through it when he first gets to the party.
Yeah. And it's a costume party, which makes it even more like just kind of outrageous,
Yes, yeah. And then he ends up like going to the bathroom or like just outside the bathroom to cool off. And I forgot the aquarium scene happened like right outside the bathroom.
Yes.
I was also like, wait, that's the bathroom. Like
Yeah, I think it's like in the bathroom. Like, have you seen like trendy clubs or restaurants where they have like, two bathrooms with like a separation, but it's like an aquarium or like something you can kind of like, see through or whatever. Yeah, it felt like one of those types of things.
I couldn't tell if it was in the bathroom or in the hallway, like just outside the bathroom.
Yeah,
but
it's
one of those two, yeah.
Yeah. So this is like an iconic scene, like absolutely. like love this scene. I've seen like clips of this scene like online,
Yeah.
like recently, it's always used. Yeah.
Yeah. He's looking at the fish in the aquarium, then he meets Juliet's eyes, and they kind of look at each other.
Through the aquarium.
Yeah, she gets called off to go do party stuff.
Yeah.
Like dance with Paris and whatever else.
But they've already locked eyes and they're already like love at first sight.
Yes, and he starts following her, and then they meet up and start having like a conversation. And they're clearly into each other. Tybalt, I think that's how you pronounce that, who's one of the Capulets, Juliet's cousin, recognizes Romeo there, and he's like, this is an offense, I want to go deal with this, but the Capulet dad is like, no, you're not going to start anything at this party. He still like takes offense to it, but then Romeo follows Juliet to a room, and we have the scene from this play.
Yes.
But soft, what light through yonder window breaks, and Romeo, oh Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo?
Mm-hmm.
Or they meet and have a conversation and fall in love.
Yes. And they fall in love quick, okay?
Yes.
Real quick.
Yeah. They're also, like, in the pool for half of the scene.
Yes.
Yeah, so they have that scene, and then, the next day, Romeo's hanging out with his friends who are like, you ditched us last night. Like, what was that about?
Like, yeah, forget about Rosaline,
Yep.
who was his love that he was heartbroken over.
Yep.
I'm all up in Juliet now.
Yep. They're having a conversation, and then Juliet's nurse shows up and is like, look, what are you, what are your plans with Juliet? And they're like, send her to the father, which is a friar in the original, but they changed him to Father Lawrence, and we'll be married. Oh yeah, there's a scene where he talks to Father Lawrence beforehand about this, like to try to set this up.
Yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, they're like setting up to be married, and this is all a problem because they are from rival houses, like their parents and their cousins and whatnot all hate each other. So, this is a problem. During this we find out, Tybalt has sent a message that, like, he has beef with Romeo, because he showed up at the party. And then there's, like, a bit of a, like, the Montagues and Mercutio are hanging out, and then the Capulets show up. Romeo runs off at this point. There's, like, a scene break. Right, and then he comes back in the middle of their argument.
Yeah.
Because the Capulets show up, and they start, like, kind of arguing with each other.
Yeah.
And then Romeo shows up, and he's like, hey, and Tybalt's like, hey,
I'm not gonna fight.
Yeah, I have problems with you. You slighted me by going to the party or whatever. And Romeo's like, no, I'm not gonna fight.
He's like, I love you.
Yeah,
we're friends.
He's like, I can't say why, but yeah, we're friends now.
Yeah. It's like, just accept it.
Yep. Then, instead, Tybalt starts attacking Romeo, like beating him up, and Romeo won't fight back, and eventually this causes Mercutio to, intervene, and during this intervention, Mercutio gets stabbed, in such a way that it kills him.
Yeah. And then he puts a plague on both of their houses.
Yes, he declares a plague on both of your houses.
I love that.
Which is a great scene, because he just yells it.
Yes.
Also, during, like, the lead-up to the scene, there's, like, a storm brewing, and then, like, during the scene, lightning starts striking and all that.
Yeah. Love it. The drama of it.
Right, and Romeo's really upset about this, and then we cut to a scene later where he's, at night, running Tybalt down on the road, and they have a confrontation, and Romeo kills him.
Yeah.
Which Juliet's very distraught about.
Yeah. But, I mean, he killed his best friend, so...
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, Juliet's upset. Juliet's dad decides, we'll marry her off to Paris, which Juliet's also upset about, but Romeo shows up, Juliet doesn't find out about this yet, but, he does agree to this. Romeo shows up, and they spend the night together, and their plan is to, Romeo's been exiled because of killing, Tybalt, but they're gonna run away together to, I forget where, but, they're gonna run away somewhere outside of Verona.
Yeah.
That's the plan, at least. Then Juliet finds out she's to be married after Romeo's already left, And she's very upset about this as well.
I think Romeo and Juliet had secretly gotten married before.
Yes, they do get married. I forgot to mention that. Yes, they do get married.
They meet up at Father Lawrence's, and he marries them.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're secretly married.
And their plans to run away together.
Yeah.
But, Juliet's being arranged to marry Paris interrupts this. And so, there's a whole thing with her family about this. And then she goes to Father Lawrence to be like, I want to die. Like, what can we do about this? And he's like, I have a plan that might work.
Yeah.
So drink this poison that'll make you fall asleep for 24 hours. And everybody will think you're dead, and I'll send word to Romeo, and he'll come wake you up and get you.
Yeah. It all seems very precarious. Like, and she's like, bet I'm on it. I'm gonna drink this poison.
Well, she walked in there like she was about to kill herself there, so.
They're very dramatic. These kids are very dramatic.
Yes. Well, they're teenagers.
Yeah.
And then, so Romeo's, hanging out. The message never gets to him. Instead, Juliet wakes up dead. Everybody thinks she's dead. Mm-hmm. And so there's, a whole funeral procession. One of the Montagues gets there and finds out. And runs off to tell Romeo. And Father Lawrence his message does not arrive. So Romeo's all upset, and he's like, well, I know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna die now.
Yep, I'm gonna go die with her, lay with her in her grave, her coffin.
Yeah.
So he goes, he gets some poison, and there's this whole scene where there's a shootout between him and the cops. They're chasing him.
Yeah, that was
helicopters and everything.
Very chaotic, yeah. I thought it was really interesting because it's super chaotic. He's even got a hostage and he's shooting at the helicopter and there's cops surrounding them, all this stuff. And then as soon as he enters the building, it's quiet. Nobody comes after him.
Yeah, but then he enters the church and he goes to Juliet and has a scene where he's like, "Oh, Juliet." I forget if this is text in the original, but he's like, "Oh, death hasn't taken your color yet," and it's maybe that should be a clue to you that she's not right. He's
your lips
dead.
Are still warm. You're bro, put the clues together. You can figure this out. I know you're smarter than this.
Yeah, and she's your lips and cheeks still have color or something like that.
Yeah.
But then he's like, "Yep, so I'm gonna die." So he drinks the poison.
Very hasty. Why didn't he take longer to say goodbye? Because she was, waking up.
Yeah, but that's the tragedy of it, If he had just gotten Father Lawrence's letter, or he had just, waited a little bit longer.
Or if he just wouldn't have killed Tybalt.
Yeah.
Tybalt wouldn't have killed Mercutio.
Or the, I think grand overarching point of this, that, the Montagues and Capulets feud is really what did them in.
Exactly.
If this hadn't been forbidden love, they would have never gotten to this point.
Yeah.
But, he does end up drinking the poison, and Juliet wakes up and realizes that he's dead, so, she takes his, dagger there.
Yeah. Oh, happy dagger.
And shoots herself with it.
Yeah.
And there's one, final scene of, them all, getting the bodies out to, bring to the morgue or whatever. And, then they, show the TV again. With the little closing narration. Mm-hmm. And that's the end.
Yeah. Yeah, so what is very excruciating about the scene, the death scenes, is that Romeo drinks the poison. Meanwhile, Juliet, immediately wakes up and, touches his face, right after he drinks the poison. Yeah. And he sees that she's still alive and, he can't talk because the poison's, taking control of his body. And she's like, oh my goodness, what is happening? And, it's a whole, super tragedy. But, I thought this was interesting because that's not how it happens in the original play. He doesn't know, she wakes up and he's already dead in the original. Yeah. So they altered this, and I think that makes it even more excruciating that she sees him still alive and he sees her still alive, and they both are just dead soon, you know? And, like, that's awful. Like, awful. I hate that part.
So you think they should have stuck with the original?
Yeah, I just think it's so much worse that he sees she's alive, like, and she sees him take the poison. You know, like, I don't know. It's just, I think that's awful. Like, the timing. I mean, it's already awful on the timing, but this just makes it, to me, like, just heart-wrenching even more so. And I'm like, oh, why'd you have to do that? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just me being dramatic, but, you know.
Yeah. But, yep, yes, a pair of star-crossed lovers did indeed take their life.
Yeah, and I especially like, at the end when the families are kind of together, like the head guys of the Capulets and the Montagues are, like, just kind of in shock, close to each other. And the police captain is like, tells them, like, basically, I told y'all this would happen. All are punished. Yes. And then he yells, like, all are punished. Like, that's, like, to me, like, a line that I always remember from the movie. And I absolutely love how, like, angry he is the whole time, like, the police captain. Because he's like, what is wrong with y'all? Like, the whole movie, he's just, like, angry at these people. And I just really, I like that part.
Yep. The lines I remember from this are a plague on both of your houses.
Yes.
That's probably my favorite line from this, because he, like, repeats it several times and just, like, yells it at the top of his lungs.
I love that, too. I love the, like, like I said, it's so ominous, and, like, your parting words, your final words are, you're cursing their houses. I love that.
Yeah.
I really love, like, some of the choices they made with some of these characters. So, like, I believe it's Tybalt, who is played by John Leguizamo. I love how, like, they did him, and, like, when he first appears, I was like, I read this as well, and I'm like, oh, that's what it is. They did it in, like, a flamenco style, like, where it's just very, like, dramatic and stuff, and I love how dramatic his character is.
Yeah.
Just down to, like, his clothes and everything,
Yeah, when he first gets out, and it's, like, the, like, steel plating of his boots stepping on, like, a cigarette.
Yeah, it's just so dramatic, and, like, I absolutely love that. And then Mercutio is, like, like, when he first appeared, I think it's when he first appears, he's, like, dressed in drag, like, this sparkly little outfit, like, absolutely love how, like, over the top he is.
Yeah.
I think, like, his character was, like, just perfect. I loved, like, his whole dynamic.
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of like the fun-loving, like, BFF,
And definitely, like, over the top with his acting. Like, I think he yells the most in this film.
Yes, like, it's so over the top. And, just, like, I loved his character. And I love, like, how you could see, like, the real pain, like, when he dies, like, from Romeo is, like, just in so much pain over his death. Like, because he wasn't a family member, but he was, like, Montague adjacent, I guess, and, like, his death was, like, especially tragic because he wasn't involved with the feud,
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's, like, crazy. And I like how Romeo was, like, banished, and he went to, like, it was, like, a remote trailer park, like, in the desert, I guess, kind of like that kind of feel, like, mobile home park. And that the letter was being delivered by, like, the postmaster or whatever, and, like, never got to him. They, like, put, like, a note on the door, like, one of those little, like, when you get a delivery and you're not home, they put, like, a little sticky on your door, and, like, the sticky note, like, falls off and he never sees it. And so, like, just, I love how they make it modern like that, but still keep, like, kind of the old school, like, where you could just go to an apothecary and buy poison, like, just thought that was really interesting. I love how Father Lawrence, like, has the potion. Like, why is this, like, church guy, like, giving away potion?
I mean, he's introduced in this movie where he's doing, like, chemistry stuff.
Yeah.
Like plant chemistry,
stuff. Yeah. Super interesting.
It's just his hobby, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. So you're like, here's a potion that'll make you look dead for 24 hours.
Yep.
Yeah, and I hate that there's so much miscommunication that results in these people's deaths. Like, and obviously that's like the crux of the whole original play.
That's the tragedy.
That's the tragedy. I don't know why we love Romeo. Like, we as like people just love Romeo and Juliet so much, because it's a terrible story, honestly.
I mean, it's a tragedy. Like, you gotta have tragedies sometimes. Ending.
But, I mean, that's what tragedies are all about.
Yeah. Yeah, also the soundtrack, which is all, like, you know, popular music. They got a lot of popular artists at the time to do some of these songs.
Yes. I think, was it Radiohead did the ending?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and that was, like, I think they said, like, was it the highest grossing soundtrack or something? I don't remember what it was, but it was, or what was it? I read something about the Radiohead part specifically.
Oh, okay. Radiohead also has another song in here that plays twice, actually.
Oh, okay. So. Yeah, it's like very, very interesting. Yeah, it was something like where that song was the highest. I don't know. I mean, whatever it was.
That song ended up on one of their albums, and that's like a very popular album. So
that's what it was. And, like, when they're in the church, they have, like, a children's choir.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it. They're singing, like, When Doves Cry.
Yeah.
And what was the other?
Oh, I don't remember. Yeah, but there is another song they're singing, yeah.
Yes. Oh, I forget what it is. But it was, like, such a good song. They had, like, Garbage, Everclear. Who else?
Yeah, Butthole Surfers.
Yeah,
those are the ones I've heard of. That one, the Love Me song, that was like a one-hit wonder or something.
Yes. Yeah, that was on there. Yeah, just, I don't know. I actually remember that, the song that's playing, I never knew, like, the name of it or who sang it or anything, but the song that's playing when they're falling in love, like, by the aquarium, like, that's definitely one you remember, even though like I said, I don't know who sang it or the name of it, which is very interesting. But the aquarium scene, to me, like, everybody wanted to, like, dress like Claire Danes for Halloween. Of course, like, nobody did. Oh. But, she's wearing this, like, white dress with, like, these little angel wings.
Yeah,
and, I mean, just, like, absolutely beautiful. And then Leonardo DiCaprio is wearing, like, a knight outfit. You know, he's got, like, some armor on his arms and, like, the chainmail, like, shirt, basically. And that was just, like, I guess because that's just, I don't know, it was so, like, popular at the time that everybody just, like, loved that scene, and what they were wearing and the music and all that kind of stuff. So really, like, nostalgic for me. Loved it.
Yep, and I love how over the top it is.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And then one thing I remembered that they changed a little bit was in the play, Paris died.
Oh, okay. See, it's been so long, I don't remember.
Yeah, exactly. And he doesn't die in the movie. And, oh, by the way, we didn't even mention, like, Paris is played by Paul Rudd.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and he was also, I think, I want to say, when was Clueless right after this or right before this?
1995.
1995, yeah, right before this. And so he would, he had gotten popular from Clueless, and, like, I don't know how I forgot that Paul Rudd played Paris, because that's also, like, another, like, iconic actor. And I love the way he plays it, like, where they're at the party and he's, like, looking back at her, like, laughing, like, it's just, like, such a Paul Rudd kind of thing. But I thought he did a good job playing that part.
Yep. But yeah, good movie.
Yeah.
Kind of weird choices, but I think it totally works. Over the top and great.
Over the top and great. Yeah, I think that's, like, 100%. I like me and one of my friends, like, we still send stuff back and forth, like, when we see it on, like, social media or something, we'll, like, share it with each other when it's, like, something to do with that movie. So still relevant today, in my opinion, but such a good movie. Sad, sad story. These two teenagers who fall in love and end up dying.
Yep.
But, that's how it goes.
Yep. And, I still can't get over, like, the choice to make the swords guns, and they're just called sword. And, like, the first time they reveal that, where, like, one of them pulls it out and it, like, zooms in on where it says sword.
Yes. I like that. Another detail that I really liked was they would show like newspaper headlines or like billboards and stuff.
Oh yeah, and like a Time magazine knockoff.
Yes, yeah, and it was all like lines from other Shakespeare plays.
Yeah, I did notice a few other Shakespeare references.
Yeah, like I might have been the opening scene. They're like singing or something, and they say "double, double, toil and trouble," which is from Macbeth. So there's a couple like other references in there that I thought was, like the attention to detail was cool.
Yeah, I noticed a reference to The Merchant of Venice, which I think said The Merchant of Verona Beach.
Oh yeah.
And one of them mentioned Prospero, who's the protagonist of The Tempest.
Oh yeah. Yes. There were several references that, like, upon watching it again, like, this time, I was like, oh, yeah, that's from whatever, like, I knew, I may not be able to name it, but I knew it was, like, from stuff. But I really liked, like, how they had some of the, like, Latin American type of, I guess, influence. Like, just different stuff that made it, like, really interesting. Was there anything you did not like?
I mean, yeah, I don't, like, remember the original play well enough to be like, oh, I think they should have kept this thing in from the original or something, but, no, I don't know. Yeah. I guess, the famous scene from, the play, I felt like they were in the pool a little too much.
Yeah.
That was a little bit much.
They were in there. There was a lot of, like, water scenes in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was interesting.
Well, was there stuff you didn't like?
Just the part where I already said where she wakes up and sees him and he sees her. Yeah, it just made it more tragic to me, and I didn't love that. I thought like the over the top stuff, like with Capulet, with I forget her name, but Juliet's mom. How she's just kind of like super goofy and over the top, and like with the nurse, it was kind of funny though. Like it wasn't like I didn't like it. It was just like, more funny than anything else. Like when the nurse is yelling like Juliet. Yeah. It just was more comical. But yeah, I don't think there was anything else like I didn't like. Although some of the like chaotic scenes I was like, oh, okay, it's a lot of chaos. You know how I get. Like action stuff.
Did not bother me. I didn't feel like it was that action packed. Like none of the action scenes last all that long.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the whole helicopter thing, it was just like a lot of noise.
Yeah. It was.
Yeah, that part I'm like, didn't love that, but yeah. But anyway, overall, I think, love this movie, would watch it again.
Yep. So I guess I'll take us out.
Yeah.
Alright, well, this has been Beach View. Thanks for listening, and tune in next time. Bye.
Bye.